Hi everyone, Julie Powell here. I'm just going to have a little look at Boris FX Optics today. I have played with it a little bit, but not a huge amount, and there is so much that is on offer in Boris Optics. Some of it I'd probably never use when it comes to doing various different old school photographic lenses and film types and things like that. I think there is quite a bit on offer. So this is an image that I've already been playing with in Boris Optics, and this is the original that I started off with. It's just a cute little picture of Alice in Wonderland type thing, and this is where I ended up with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop back down to my original, and I've loaded up Boris FX Optics into my filter gallery. So we're going to go in and we're going to have a little look. Now it does take a little bit to get used to when you first get in here. So I think that the two that sort of did me was the done, which is this little cog, and the cancel. There's also a reset, and you can add master stuff, and then you've got all your filters down here, which are quite frankly mind-boggling. So some of the things that I went and had a little look at, just to give you an idea. So you've got your color, so you can switch from black and white. You can adjust your curves and all sorts of things, your color balance and your Kelvin and things like that. Anything that you could think of for photographic images, you can, using these presets in here, and play with them. So you can set it to a black and white, you can do a color correction, things like that. So they're in the color tab, which, to be honest, I didn't even use my first time round. So what I did was I come into the diffusion and blurs, and I was playing around, and there is so many in here that are really cool and you can play with. So I went into beauty and I had a little look at that, and I was playing with some of these. Now some of them are a little overdone, and you can, okay, so let's just zoom in so we can see her face a little bit more. And you can use the space bar to grab the hand to pull it around. So this is obviously a little bit over the top. This one is a little better, but it's quite red. You can sort of go through, some of them are way over the top, and some of them are quite subtle. So even just the default one I actually kind of liked. So if we go and have a little look between the two, it just softens out the skin tones just a little bit, and maybe even reduces the shine just a touch, not all of it, and it just did soften it off a little bit. If you wanted to go and play with some of the others, that's adding more green in. That's quite funky with the purple eyes. But yeah, so, and I mean, there's undead. Yeah, I suppose that's a bit undead. So like I said, there is so many. This has given some bit of a weird shadow to it. Sun-kissed. So I'm going to go back up here, and I'm going to go to this brown sugar. Now, if I just get rid of this one. Now, obviously, it's a little too much, but you can come back here and you can play with how strong or how opaque you want it. So that's with it off, and that's putting it on. Now you can also change your blend modes if you wish to. So you've got the normal ones that you'd be looking at in Photoshop. So you've got normal, darken, multiply, screen, soft light, etc, etc. So you can change your multiply modes on any of these. Now if you want to take this further, what you would need to do is you need to add another layer. Now you can drag your layers around, but you will be working in the top layer pretty much the same as you would with layers in Photoshop. So with that layer selected, I'm going to go through and I'm going to have a look at some of the other stuff that we could do to it. When we switch over, there's so many in here that you could play around with, which are really, really cool. But I'm just going to switch over to the Film Lab. Now we can have a little look at cross-processing. We can have a look at 2 and 3 color strip. We can also go to film stocks. So there was some really great film stock in here as well. So there's an 8mm black and white. You've got your general Agfa. I love this one. It was just beautiful. So there's so many. You've also got your vintage ones. So your albumin, and you've got various black and whites that are like high contrast black and white, faded black and whites. You've got cyan, green, magenta. You've got copper. There's dry plate, daguerreotype. So much on offer. I'm just going to zoom out a little bit. The daguerreotype's quite beautiful as well. So you've got so many different presets in here, which are really quite cool. You've also got your Fuji. It just goes on and on and on. So you really can, there's probably too much choice in some regards. I do really happen to like this one, so I'm going to go back to having this one on it. Now, if you come across here, so you've got more strips in here. So you've got gradients and tints that you can put on it as well. If you go to your image, you can add denoise, you can sharpen. Let's actually have a go at doing, oops, see, this is why you need to add a new layer. So each layer is labeled, so it's the original. That was the beauty that I did. The film stocks, sharpen, and so forth. So when I come in here to sharpen, I can, and it's just really a matter of clicking a preset to get the preset to apply to the image. And it has applied quite a bit of sharpening to the eyes there, so that's not bad. Okay, so I'm going to keep that one. I'm going to put in a new layer, and let's move on. Now, if you go to lens, there's some really cool lens distortions and things like that that you can add into it. There's a vignette. You can go in and you can add a vignette to your image. Some of these, and it's just a matter of grabbing where you have a line or a circle or whatever. You can grab that and make changes to your image. So some of these are really kind of cool. Yeah, you can even warp and things like that. Then you've got different lighting effects, so you can add rim lights and glowing edges and halos. The halos are pretty cool. Again, so many different things to choose from. You just have to go through and decide which you want to use. This is another one that's really, really cool. I thought this was really very good. I'm not quite sure of the applications for it, but there's a lot of different abstract lights that you could have over your image. So and then you've got like bay windows, which can give a lovely look to it. You've got branches, so if you, I guess if you wanted to have different shadows and highlights, different lighting effects, but all these windows, it's very, very cool that you can add all these windows in. And then you've got fire effects, which could be kind of handy too. So then you've got light leaks, which is something else which is really kind of cool. It was something else that I was playing with earlier, and some of these are different colors. I think this is the one that I had before, which is the soft blue, which I thought was really quite nice. And then you've got rainbows and S-rays, reflectors, relight, soft light. You can add sparkles and spotlights and streaks and all sorts of things. The reflector, I mean, there's so many different, you can have a gold or a silver reflector, and it moves around and changes the intensity of the reflection that's bouncing back onto the image, which I thought was really kind of cool. So there's lots here, and I mean, that doesn't even get into the renders. You can add night skies and muzzle flash and laser beams and all different things. You know, you can add a moon into it. This one's really kind of cool. I like this one. Just grabbing it and moving it out of the way. So yeah, so you could have things like that. Just get rid of that one for the moment and pop in another one. Then you've got stylize as well. So if you want to come in and you can turn it into something a little more painterly, or you can turn it into cartoons, and there's some great pencil things and things like that, so you can actually do like a drawing as well. There's cross hatching, day for night scenarios, dog vision, which I guess that's how dogs see it, which is kind of cool. So you've got different etchings. The fly's eyes, this was really fantastic. I mean, how cool is that? So lots of different things that you can really have fun with that. There's half tones, which is really kind of cool. There is a half tone color, so that gives you that whole sort of, you know, pop culture dot effect type thing. There's psychedelics in there. Like I said, some of this stuff doesn't seem to really do a huge amount for general photography, but if you really want to play around with different effects, you can really do something quite cool. I mean, this is using the kaleidoscope, which is really quite funky. So there's pastels, pencils. We had the cartoons before, but we can actually turn something into a pencil drawing. And there's a couple of different, I guess, strengths of pencil. So you can have just the line drawing, or you can go all the way through to something that has more shadow on it. So there's lots in here. And then, I mean, you can go with X-rays and vintage TV looks and things like that, which could be really kind of a little bit different depending on what your VHS tape. So that's really cool. So that's just an overall look at you using the Boris FX Optics software. You can use it as a plug-in for Lightroom and for Photoshop, or you can use it for a standalone image as well. Click the little cog, I should say, and that will then pop you back into Photoshop if that's where you started from. So yeah, thanks for watching.